bodies. Meaning what? I'm the God of the moon. Worship me. Okay? And that's just history, because what they were doing in the beginning of time, they're still doing now. Okay? They're idolizing, they're adoring the heavenly bodies. And the Most High said, don't do that. Why? Because when you go to the Apocrypha, it says what they were made to do service unto man. So why are you serving them? I'm going to read it to you again in the Apocrypha. It says, verse 46, and gave us them in charge to do what? Service unto man. Sun, moon, stars were made to work for you. The sun during the day, the moon at night. Okay, and then the stars. The sun has a job. The moon has a job. They're there for what? Like it says in the scriptures, to give light. But also to do what? I'm going to read it to you. And the Most High made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He also made the stars. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1, read verse 17, which says what?
And the Most High set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light upon the earth.
And again, it's important that we emphasize that the Most High set them in the firmament, or the sky. The firmament is the sky which was created on the second day, right? The Most High set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon earth. That's where they are, and that's what they do. It was placed there in the sky to give light on earth, but also in addition, read on.
Verse 18. And to rule over the day and over the night.
Right.
And to divide the light from the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And the Most High saw that it was good.
So the reason why we want to go over this is because we understand that that light that was created on the first day was no longer needed, because the sky was at the height that the Most High wanted it to be. On the fourth day, being divided from the land, and now he would place what we call heavenly bodies in the sky. When I use the word heavenly, remember I'm referring to our heaven, which is the sky. Which is the sky that we look up and see. Within that sky, we see the sun, the moon, and the stars. Okay? They're in different portions of the sky, different portals or different dimensions of the sky, but nonetheless, they're in the sky and they have a certain job to do. All right? Now, let's finish reading 18.
Done. Verse 18. And to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And the Most High saw that it was good.
In the beginning, there was the light, when he said, let there be light, that divided the day from the night, divided the light from the darkness. That light was no longer needed. Now it's the sun and the moon that's going to have that job. Because it says, and to rule over the day and over the night. Okay? So that fair light or light that was created on the first day is no longer needed. Everybody got that? Okay, now let's move to the verse 19.
Verse 19. Genesis 1 and verse 19. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
So that's it. Sun, moon, stars created on the fourth day. Let's move to Genesis chapter 1.
You want 20?
I'm sorry, Genesis chapter 1, verse 20. Go ahead.
Verse 20. And the Most High said that the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that have life.
Now, the sun and the moon has a great part to play on the organic life that's being created in the waters now. Because now the waters will be at a certain temperature that can orchestrate that. Okay? All right, so again, and the Most High said, verse 20, and the Most High said, let the waters bring forth abundantly, meaning a lot, the moving creature that hath life. So this is a life, these are life forms that the Most High has created in the ocean. And because it says the word life, another word that can fit is spirit. All these creatures have spirits. Okay? Just like it talks about the firmament being a spirit, it talks about the land, everything being a spirit. Now you have living spirits in the water. Read on.
And the fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven.
The fowl couldn't have done that before without the sun, because he needs that sun, right? What do birds do in the fall? They fly south to what? To the where it's warmer. So could they have done that on day one? Nah, they wasn't even there, right? Exactly. But that's the whole point. You see how everything is being done methodically? Day by day, everything is needed. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. Read verse 21.
Verse 21. And the Most High created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly
Abundantly, a lot. Read on.
after their kind.
Because their seed is in them. Because their seed is in them. Okay? Just like how we read about the fruits and the vegetation and so forth. How did they bring forth abundantly? The DNA that's within their seeds. They were programmed to do that. Just like how mankind is programmed to replenish itself. Okay? And mankind will be given, when he's created, the commandment, go forth and do what? Replenish yourself. Be fruitful. Same thing, same order was given to vegetation, fruits, and also the creatures in the seas. The same commandment. Okay? And the ways to do it. Read on.
And every winged fowl after his kind. And the Most High saw that it was good.
And the Most High saw that it was tawab, it was good. So the angels saw the job that they did. And the reason why I keep saying good is because the angels were given a task to complete. And after they completed, they would say, what? It's according to the Most High's blueprint. That's what they're saying. It's good. This is how he said to do it. It's done. It's good. They didn't sway. They didn't manipulate. They didn't say, okay, well, let me just change the DNA over here a little bit. No, they didn't do none of that. That's what man does today. Okay, talking about he got tilapia and all of that. What is that? Where'd that come from? Got you eating that tilapia thinking you're eating something good. You don't know what you eating. Okay? Talking about farm-fed fish and all of this. Trust me, they have a way of making everything the same. Even when they use the term organic, they do the same nonsense. They just charge you more. That's all that is. Okay? So now, we're going to go to the 2nd Ezra chapter 6, and we're going to read verse 47.
Khan, 2nd Ezra 6 and verse 47. Upon the 5th day thou settest unto the 7th part.
And the 7th part is what? The seas that he created. When he commanded the waters, or he told the angels to move the waters off the land, the portion of the earth that the waters moved to was called the 7th part. The land is called the 6th part. So read that again.
Upon the 5th day thou settest unto the 7th part, where the waters were gathered, that it should bring forth living creatures, fowls, and fish. And so it came to pass.
So it came to pass. Okay? So the Most High knew what he was doing. He knew the timetable to do it. That's why you read, and the evening and the morning was day 1, and the evening and the morning was day 2, because everything had to be done methodically in order for certain life forms to come to live and to also to be sustained. Okay? It couldn't have been done out of order. You couldn't have had fish and everything on day 1, because no, that wasn't possible. Okay? Now, we're going to go to the Apocrypha. We're in the Apocrypha.
Yep.
We are in the Apocrypha. And it says, the last thing it says, what? And so it came to pass. Now it's going to say something very interesting in verse 48. But I want you to read that.
Khan, verse 48. For the dumb water.
Why does it call it dumb? Read on.
And without life.
That's why it calls it dumb. It would appear to not have life. Okay? Read.
For the dumb water and without life brought forth living things.
In other words, it would appear that it wouldn't be possible. But again, remember, the Most High, when the waters covered the whole land, the Most High had already seeded the land under the water. You understand? So when the water receded, what happened? The fact that the land dried, the seeds were able to bud and come to life. So same thing in the waters. Okay, the Most High had a way for the angels to create life in the waters. And that life remains in the water. Read that again.
For the dumb water and without life brought forth living things at the commandment of the Most High.
At the what? The commandment of the issuing of the order of the Most High. Read on.
That all people might praise the wondrous works.
That's what we're supposed to do. Not attribute these life or this whatever to science. Not giving glory to man. Supposed to what? That all people might praise the what? Wondrous works of the Most High. How he did it. Because watching the History Channel and the Science Channel, it's like a big mystery. Well, how did this happen? They're showing you how it happened. You understand? It's just for you now to be a servant, to be a student of the Most High and listen to what he said. You understand? Don't be double-minded. That's a hard thing to do in this world because you're constantly being bombarded with what man said, man's study, man's theory, how man thinks, the hypothesis of man, right? He's always throwing it at you. This is what happened. Now, this is science has discovered that there's a new life form and blah, 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 right? Give me a break. It's always been here. It's just that we didn't study it or take it for what it is. We took it for granted. Okay? Now, the Apocrypha goes into something that you might not read in the Bible. Okay, talking about Enoch and Leviathan. Okay, but it's something that makes sense. So going back to Genesis chapter 1. You're reading 21 again, right?
Come. Genesis 1 and verse 21. And the Most High created great whales, and every living creature that moveth, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And the Most High saw that it was good. Verse 22.
Right. So now, again, just like how the fruit vegetation was given seed and DNA that they would pass, and they would be able to continue life, the same thing happens here with the fowls of heaven and everything else. Okay? Read.
Verse 22. And the Most High blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply.
The Most High blessed them, saying, speaking to them in his language to them, which is similar to what he's going to say to men, right? But now he's speaking to the marine animals, the marine creatures, and he's saying what? Be fruitful and multiply. What else? Read.
And fill the waters in the seas.
Fill the waters in the sea with what? Your life form. Okay, read on.
And let fowl multiply in the earth.
He's saying to the marine creatures and to the fowl, pass seed, live, multiply. You understand? Multiply. And just like how he gave them the DNA and the know-it-all and the desire that he gave to, just like how he gave it to man, he gave it to the sea creatures and the marine creatures. They want to mate also because it's embedded in us. You understand? That's how you get continuity of life. Okay, we were given that desire to mate. We were given that desire to procreate. Man was given a desire and the DNA, the means to procreate. So were the marine creatures, so were the fowls of heaven. During certain times of the year, I watch the History Channel and it shows you how the little turtles all together, they want to go to a certain place at one time of the year, right? And then this creature and that creature, and you look at them, even the crabs. You ever see the part about the crabs and the whole army of crabs just walking through the bottom of the ocean, the whole bunch of them, man? Fighting off all kind of creatures that want to kill them, but they keep moving, stepping over one another, but they got to get to a certain area where it's ideal for them to mate. And they mate. And then they sometimes they'll shed their shells and their bodies, and they'll come back, right? And go back to where they were before. This has a lot to do with the temperature of the water and just the embedded and embedded DNA and desire that was put in them. You understand? It's amazing to watch. Amazing. It's like, why would they all at one time just want to move to one area? That movement that you see in them, which it is DNA, but not is it just DNA, it's the code that the Most High imprinted in them. Okay? That desire that the Most High puts in them. So we read now, it says what? It told the sea creatures, verse 22, and the Most High blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill what? The waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth. That was the commandment. Everybody got that? So what does it say in the Apocrypha now? In let me go to verse 49.
2 Ezra 6 and verse 49. Then didst thou ordain two living creatures, the one thou callest Enoch, and the other Leviathan.
And it's a similar language as to what's being used in verse 22, talking about with the marine or the ocean creature and the land creature being the fowl. Okay? So you have the whales and so forth and fish and everything that's in the waters. They're called marine creatures. Then you have the fowls, which are creatures that would actually reproduce on the land. So it's talking about two living creatures. Read on.
Verse 50.
Now hold on. One called Enoch and the other one called Leviathan, right? So Enoch would be a land creature and Leviathan is the sea creature. Read on.
Verse 50. And did it separate the one from the other, from the seventh part, namely, where the waters were gathered together, might not hold them both.
So you see how the Most High, again, methodically does things in the way he wanted or made it to be. He made the certain creatures to dwell on land, certain creatures to dwell in the ocean. There are certain creatures that dwell in the ocean that are like animals because they come up for what? Oxygen, like whales and so forth. They come up and they spray out water, but they also, in turn, take in oxygen. So those creatures are amazing because they're like both parts. They live in the ocean, okay, but they breathe oxygen like land animals, okay? It's all a part of the beauty of the Most High. Read on.
Where we at?
51.
Verse 51, Slakia. 51. Unto Enoch thou gavest one part, which was dried up the third day.
It keeps repeating that because you have to understand the condition was made perfect in the third day for the production or reproduction of land creatures, okay? And then read on.
That he should dwell in the same part,
Right.
wherein are 1,000 hills.
And remember in the beginning, those 1,000 hills were what? Hidden underwater, immersed. You couldn't see them. So this couldn't have happened on the second day. That's what you got to get. You got to get that. That's why we're reading two books back to back to show you that the way that the Most High does things is perfect. There's perfection to it. Okay? So not only that, now you have, in order for the land creatures to survive, the Most High gave them what? Grass and fruits and so forth, right? We didn't get to man yet. Nope. But you should get a picture that everything that the Most High has done is done methodically and it is done where one thing can serve the other. But above all things, these things were done to serve man. Okay? Read.
Verse 52. But unto Leviathan thou gavest the seventh part, namely the moist,
Meaning the waters, the seas. Read on.
and hast kept him to be devoured of whom thou wilt, and when.
Meaning what? He's still here. It's still here. Okay? But now it says, and has kept him to be devoured of whom thou wilt and when. Meaning what? It's not that easy to get a Leviathan. He might get you. Okay? But again, I want to stress that through the flood and everything else, Leviathan is still here. Through the flood and everything else, majority of the marine or sea creatures are still here. Okay, now Esau is going to tell you that, certain creatures are not here anymore and so forth. That's not necessarily true. Because why? He says certain things died off and this and so forth. And he says, oh, we just discovered. What do you mean you just discovered? It was here all along. Excuse me. You understand? But that's what he does. Even with land animals. There are certain land animals that the Most High has commanded to go to a certain part of the earth where man doesn't know. Then man will go there one day, oh, we just discovered. No, you ain't discovered nothing. You ain't discovered nothing. The Most High caused that to happen. All right, so before we go to 53 in 2nd Ezra, we're going to go back to the Bible. I'm going to read verse 23.
Verse 23, Genesis 1 and verse 23. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day.
Okay, read.
Verse 24. And the Most High said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind. And it was so.
And again, the language that's being used here is a commandment that's being given to who? The angels, which also control the timetable of events. The angels control the timetable of events of creation. They put into operation what the Most High commands. Okay, so when he says, and the Most High said, let the earth bring forth a living creature after his kind. This could not have happened prior to the Most High giving this commandment. Okay, so the angels aid, or they play a role in this being happen. It's happening, I should say. Let the earth, and the Most High said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind. Meaning what? When it says after his kind, meaning what? Seed. Okay, how do the living creatures now on the land? How do they survive? By seed, by passing seed. Okay, cattle and creeping thing, everything, and beasts of the earth. Read on.
Verse, we're at
You said
20
beasts of the earth.
Verse
after his
25.
kind. Okay, and it was so. In other words, the Most High gave the commandment, and that commandment was that commandment was carried out by the angels, and that commandment is now in our DNA, in the animal's DNA, and they do it day upon day. Okay, so the word "his kind" is very important because now man has mixed seed. You understand? But in the beginning, the Most High didn't do that. Man said, I want a stronger horse. I'm going to mix the Siberian horse with this African horse. Most High didn't do that. Okay? But let's read on.
Verse 25.
25.
And the Most High made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his
He
kind.
keeps on saying his kind. Read.
And the Most High saw that it was
And the
good.
reason why he keeps on saying his kind is because this order, he put order in everything. Okay? And it was supposed to be kept. Read.
Verse 26. And the Most High said, let us make man in our image.
Now, of all the things that the Most High created, he's going to create the most significant part of his creation on the sixth day, which will be the last day of creation. All right? Read on.
After our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth.
Now, when you read Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, what happens, because of the language that's used here that was not used in prior verses, what man does is that he says, you see, he says us here. So there was aliens back then. They was doing it. No, it was the same language being used. It's just that in the English, it would say God, but in reality, in the Hebrew, it would say Alahayim, which means what? Powers or angels. You understand? That's the only difference. So now you, being of wise mind, should understand that when it says us, it's a continued conversation between the Most High and the angels. This conversation started from verse 1, but is only being acknowledged in verse 26. Okay, so read 26 again.
Con. Verse 26. And the other one said, let us make man in our image.
Meaning what? To look like us. Okay? Meaning what? The Most High and the angels, we look just like them. Okay? We look just like them. Let us make man in our image and
After our likeness.
our behavior. Let them look like us and behave like us. Meaning what? Let them look like how we look and do what we do. You understand? That's what man is, how man is supposed to be in the order that was given to man. Read on.
And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea,
Rulership over the fish of the sea. Read on.
and over the fowl of the air,
Read.
and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
Exactly. Meaning what? This is the order. This is how it's supposed to be. Guess what, my brothers and sisters? A lion, a tiger is supposed to be afraid of you and not vice versa. Not vice versa. You ain't supposed to be running from no, well, we run from dogs, I mean, but that's a whole other thing, right? You ain't supposed to be running from no dog. A dog's supposed to be running from you. Okay? You ain't supposed to be, like afraid of creatures, animals, because it says, let man have dominion over them. You understand? But now that you see it's the opposite, what does that tell you? The earth is out of bounds, out of whack, and out of control. Okay? You got little pit bulls in the neighborhood and, tearing people up. I mean, just this week on the news, there was a story about a mother and her son, and she left the son in the room with the pit bull, and the pit bull bit into his face. And she says, I don't know what happened. Satan happened. Okay? So you got to be careful. I had a friend I used to feed his pit bull gunpowder. He used to feed his pit bull gunpowder, which is a typical natural hood thing. Hood thing. Black folk do this nonsense. They want to take the female pit bull and let it sleep next to them, and then they want to give the pit bull gunpowder so to be vicious, right? That's some old nigga nonsense. I hate this. Sorry I had to say it that way, but straight up, that's what it is. You're not supposed to do that to animals. The Most High tells you you're supposed to love your animal and care for your animal, not making him into a monster. Okay? So now going back to the book of Genesis, we're in the sixth day, and in the sixth day man was created. Let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 6, and we're going to read verse 53.
2 Ezra 6 and verse 53. Upon the 6th day thou gavest commandment unto the earth that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. Keep going. 54. And after these, Adam also.
So now it shows you that we were created on the same day. But not just that. He's going to talk about the greatest creation of all things, which is what? Man. Read on.
Whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures.
The Most High made Adam or man Lord over all these creatures. Okay? Read on.
Of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen.
Exactly. So if Adam come we all, and of course the most important thing, also the people who thou hast chosen. Okay? Now, again, like I said, this is Ezra speaking to the Most High, speaking wisdom, regurgitating what the Most High has given him in the past, so the Most High would give him more. You understand? Most High, you said this and you said that. You see, he's doing that because he's saying, look, I listened to you. I acknowledge what you said. I learned from you. He wants more. Okay, so go back to the Bible, and we're going to read verse 27.
Genesis 1 and verse 27. So the Adonai created man in his own image. In the image of the Most High created he him, male and female.
Very important.
Created he them.
27. Let's highlight, emphasize, and go over that verse 27 because it's important, especially in today's day and time. Because some people are gonna catch feelings. Nah, I might look like a man, but I feel like a woman. Some parents might have a child walk up to them and say, you know, I'm only 6. I'm wearing boys' clothes, but I feel like a girl. And they're going to say, well, that's God's fault. Now, they might not use those exact words, but science might say, well, we've located some DNA that, no, you ain't locate no DNA that makes you gay or makes you indifferent, okay? Or makes you so special that you're in between. I forgot what they call that term. You understand what I'm saying? But basically, you ain't got to acknowledge what you are, or you might feel different day to day, and that's allowed now. You see, now, honestly, I'm gonna tell you, back in the '80s, now you wasn't going around with that. Okay? Especially not in Jamaica. Not in the islands, right? But over a period of time, what's happened is that they've weakened our senses. What they've done is made something that was not supposed to be, not so much of a threat to us today. Because back then, we still had that spirit of, no, that's not right. Okay? But through comedy, through repetition, through showing these things over and over again, you have been incapacitated to the point where now anything goes, right? Anything goes. They just flash it in front of you. Now today you will see all kind of things on your TV screen. You hear all kind of things on the radio or in songs, right? So you accept it. But in the beginning, in verse 27, read that again.
In verse 27. So the Adonai created man in his own image. In the image of power created he him. Male and female created he them.
Male and female created he them in the order in which he wanted them to be created. Doing what he wanted them to do, because just like the fruits and just like the everything else, he put in them something to continue their line, a seed which contains DNA. Meaning what? Man and woman was created for each other. And when you go into the scriptures, it says that woman was created for man to be a comfort to him, but also she is the closest thing to him. Remember, when you read in Genesis, it talks about Eve being taken from the rib of Adam. Okay? Now, that's allegorical. You understand what I'm saying? But nonetheless, that's the order, because I'm reading it right here, where it says, he says, male and female created he them. The Most High created them male and female. He didn't just create male. He didn't just create female. He created male and female to continue our line. Okay? And that's important, because if science is going to tell you something totally different. Science is going to tell you, oh, you don't need a man. You come to our factory, we got you. But you're still using DNA, right? Still using DNA. Okay? And now, It's important that we read this, man, because it brings you back to reality. And if you don't read it and understand it, you're going to get lost. Verse 28.
Verse 28. And the Most High blessed them, and the power said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it.
So just like how the sea, just like how the fruit vegetation, just like how the sea creatures were given that command of being fruitful and multiply, man is being given that same commandment. And that's important for you to understand, because there's only one way you can be fruitful and multiply. Okay? One way. Okay? The animals do it, man is supposed to do it. You understand? Man and woman, I should say, supposed to do it. Very important. Verse 29, right? And the Most High said, Behold, I've given you... Where are you?
We're in 20. We're halfway through 28.
Okay, so...
I'll finish 28.
Read 28 again.
Verse 28. And the Most High blessed them, and the power said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply.
Fruitful. Be fruitful. Okay? In other words, create. Have children. Read.
And replenish the earth.
Replenish the earth. Read.
And subdue it.
Now, again, with this term, replenish the earth, man has created a theory that the earth was destroyed. And what we're reading in Genesis is the earth being rebuilt. How do you know that's a lie? Because in the beginning it tells you that the earth was void. There was nothing there. If it was created before and everything was destroyed, would there not be something there that looked destroyed? You understand? You gotta put wisdom to the word of the Most High. Okay? It says the earth was void. There was no trees. If there was a civilization prior to what we're reading now, you would have the remnants of that civilization. You would have a destroyed forest or whatever. But that's not what the scripture says. It says the earth was void. There was nothing there. So in other words, I want you to understand very clearly, there's no such thing as a pre-Adamite world. This theory of the pre-Adamite world is made up by man. And in this theory of the pre-Adamite world, they say there was a civilization prior to Adam being on the earth. And there was a war. The Most High got mad at them and destroyed everything, right? But my question to you is this: if that was the case, would you not see the remnants of that destruction? But yet when we read the scriptures, it says it was void. There was nothing there. Meaning what? That's nonsense. So don't give it to these theories. There's a lot of theories out there. And you know, when you're on YouTube and when you're on TikTok and all of these things, they go into that. People talking sounding so intelligent anyway, that you would believe they're nonsense. Okay? Let's read on.
And have dominion over the fish of the sea.
Have dominion over the fish of the sea. Read on.
And over the fowl of the air. And over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
Exactly. So in other words, the Most High has made man the controller, the head over everything on the earth, mankind. Okay? And the Most High blessed them, and the Most High said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Okay? Read that last precept.
Con, verse 29 or the last? Con, verse 29, 28.
28.
Con. And subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea.
Meaning rulership. You control it. Read.
And over the fowl of the air.
You control it.
And over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
Now this could only be accomplished by what? Man being in order and the animals being in order. Okay? Nothing is in order right now. That's why you got bears coming into communities and just killing people, right? And they're running out. Okay, because it's so interesting that people don't understand you are where they're supposed to be. You're in the way. This was their community. You came in, and before you built houses, you killed off thousands of them. All right? But you didn't kill all of them. So now you're living all nice and chilling, and they didn't forget. So now while you're sleeping, they come and they hurt you. That's just the order of things. Okay, it's the way it works. So we got that.
The Most High wanted man to rule earth.
There you go.
He didn't want to rule earth.
There you go. So now the animals rule. Okay? We're Planet of the Apes over here. You understand what I'm saying? That's where we are right now. Let's read on.
Done. Verse 29. And the Most High said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth,
Yes, sir.
and every tree,
And again, the word seed is being used. I have given you every herb-bearing seed. Herb-bearing seed, meaning what? It can replenish itself, reproduce itself. Okay, you don't need a factory to give it to you, say, here's your seed for the day. No. Which is upon the face of the earth. Read on.
which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree, yielding seed.
Right, so in other words, that seed is important because it's a seed that is used to reproduce in vegetation, but also in mankind. You understand? Read.
In the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat.
It shall be for meat. So in the beginning, this is what we ate. Yes, in the beginning, this is what we ate. Most High gave it to us. It's there. We're reading it. Read.
And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life,
Meaning the spirit. Read on.
I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so.
So the Most High sustained man and the creatures, the living creatures upon the earth, with everything that had seed in it. Okay? Plain and simple. Plain and simple. The animals were given certain vegetation that you have what they call herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores within the animal life. Now, a herbivore would be something or a creature or animal that only eats vegetation. Okay, he eats herbs and so forth, which if you look at our diet according to the dietary law, all the creatures that we eat are supposed to be herbivores. We're only supposed to eat grass and greenery. Okay, not that they're supposed to eat other animals or creatures, because that doesn't mix with what? Your DNA. Okay, now you have carnivores. Carnivores are meat-eating creatures. If you look at our diet, we're not supposed to eat creatures that eat other animals. Okay, then you have omnivores. An omnivore is a creature that basically eats both. Okay, but the carnivore and the omnivore, we're not supposed to consume. Look at our dietary law, and when it talks about the split in the hooves and so forth, and eating the cud. And the Bible uses the word cud, C-U-D, C-U-D, chew the cud. Thank you, brother. You understand? So it's showing you that we're only supposed to eat animals that chew the cud or eat what they're herbivores, they eat grass and so forth. Okay, that's a very important lesson, because that's not being emphasized today. And not only is it not being emphasized, what they're feeding the creatures today is a mixture of everything. Okay, which is not right, because then it goes into your system and that's your DNA and it doesn't match. Everybody understand? Okay, let's read on.
Verse 31. And the Most High saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
And the evening and the morning was the sixth day. Beautiful. So basically, what the Most High did was he created everything on a timely timetable, and he created within a certain time frame. In the Hebrew, it says, وَيَرَآ لَحَيَمْ أَفْ كَوْلَ أَشْرَى عَيْشَابْ وَحَنَا تَوَابْ مَعَدَ وَيَحَيَا أَيْرَابَ وَيَحَيَا بَقْوَارْ يَوْمْ هَشَشَيَا. Okay? And that's the end of Genesis chapter 1, which basically says what we just read in verse 31. And the Most High saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was good. Meaning what? Meaning this, my brothers and sisters. The work or workmanship that was carried out by the angels was approved by the Most High. It was his blueprint. They followed his blueprint. You're going to hear some crazy theory about some angels or some aliens that came down and what? Seeded the earth. Meaning what? They're behaving on their own volition. That's what they want to do. You're going to hear about the AHCHAAD that came and, they saw the Neanderthal man, and they just simply came in and manipulated them by adding their DNA to the Neanderthal, and that's how you get man today. You're going to hear all of these theories. Okay, you're going to hear about, a star fell from the heavens onto the earth, and from that came the living creatures. Okay, but we just read what happened. The Most High actually created. See, everything has to have intelligence. You understand? Intelligent life form, intelligent creation. Nothing just happens on its own. That's impossible.
God.
That's why there's no Big Bang Theory.
Come.
That's why there's no mystery to the creatures that's upon the earth. Why? Because the Most High created all of them. Do we know all of them? No, we don't. Because some are hidden from man. Have you seen Leviathan lately? No. But the Most High said it's there, right? And he created it, and it's still there to be consumed by whom he wants it to be consumed by. Okay? Now in the new kingdom to come, hold on. Let's go to Revelation chapter 1. I'm sorry, Revelation. I'm sorry?
What's the animal that?
I can't hear you.
What's the animal that's a carnivore and herbivore again? The one that eats meat.
Herbivore. Okay, so herbivore is a non-eating, basically eating grass, plants, and so forth. Carnivore eats meats, and an omnivore eats both.
Oh, okay.
Okay? No problem, brother. No problem. No problem. In Genesis chapter 21, this is going to be the last scripture because I know it's a long class. And to those that missed part of this class, some of the information, you weren't given because, that some things that was beyond our control, and we can always do this over. We can get another class that shows everything, a complete breakdown of Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1 is a book of mystery to people, but Genesis chapter 1, all the questions that you have are actually in the Bible. That's why we use the Apocrypha, which is a part of the Bible. We use 2nd Ezra chapter 6 because the Most High gave Ezra a lot of the answers to the questions that we have. Okay, certain things that weren't spoken about in detail in Genesis chapter 1 is spoken about in 2nd Ezra chapter 6. Revelation chapter 21 verse 1 says this.
Slakia. Revelation 21?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, come. Yeah.
Revelations 21 and 1.
Con, reading out the book of Revelation, chapter 21 and verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth.
A new sky and a new land. Okay, read.
For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away.
In Genesis chapter 1, we read about the first heaven and the first earth. The first land and the first sky. We read that. So the Most High is telling you that in the kingdom to come, it's going to be a new heaven and a new earth, a new sky and a new land. Part of that land is going to expand. That's why it's going to go on to say there was no more sea. That's not a mystery. The word sea means water or ocean, because he's going to bring up new land. Like what? The Pangea that we read about in the beginning. Remember that? So that's coming back. Okay? So that whole map and that little puzzle that you see together, all going to come back to one. Okay? And it's going to be a new heaven, meaning what? What you see on display for mankind's viewing is going to change. Because it goes into Revelation, talks about the destruction of the sun and the moon and so forth. Then another part, it said, there shall be no need of the sun and the moon. So it's going to be different. Read on, my brother.
And there was no more sea.
Read.
Verse 2. And I, John, saw the holy city, a new Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband.
So the Most High is going to make everything brand new. Everything's going to be brand new. We're living in the first earth and the first heaven. What's to come in the kingdom will be the second earth and the second heaven. Okay? And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to say shalom. Thank you for being in the class. Shalom. 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 All praises. All praises. Alright, so that's the second time I did that class. I did it a few months back. And I just wanted to go over it as a review.